The most popular framework in quality is the ISO 9001 system. The cover is about Six Sigma. The third topic is around lean principle. We will see what is total quality management. And finally, my favorite topic, which is PDCA cycle. Hi there. This is World Quality Month, and throughout this month, I am sharing with you fundamentals of quality, frameworks, how does quality work, and related topics. On my LinkedIn feed, I am sharing almost daily posts about the importance of quality, how you can adopt it, how you can get better at it. So, first up, if you are interested in all this stuff, you can follow me on LinkedIn or subscribe to my YouTube channel for more of such content. But before we get into today's video, which is about frameworks and tools for quality management, who am I? I am Anshuman Tiwari. I am a fellow of the American Society for Quality for over a decade. I have been Global 40 under 40 for quality. I work in the IT industry as a senior executive and also dabble on the side as a career coach. In the first video in this series, I shared with you some fundamentals or overview of quality, such as the history of quality, why quality is important, what in general is quality, how many types of quality, what are the basic parameters of quality, and so on. And all of this was shared in the interest of taking quality or the quality subject to the masses so that we can amplify the voice of quality and get more people involved into it. This series is not meant for academics, not meant for college courses. Please use it with some caution. So this week's video is about frameworks and tools. The most popular framework in quality, and I am saying this with all responsibility, is the ISO 9001 system. You may think it is a bare minimum standard, but it is hugely popular and it does lay a very solid foundation for quality management. The second topic we will cover is about Six Sigma. We will understand where Six Sigma came from, what does it do, and something more about it. The third topic is around lean principle. We will try and see what are the origins of lean, how can it be used. Next up, we will see what is quality. Next up, we will see what is total quality management and how is it different from any of these. And finally, my favorite topic, which is PDCA cycle or the Shewhart cycle, or also called the Deming cycle. Let's dive into it. First up, quality management systems, also popularly known as ISO 9001 series of standards. A QMS defines how an organization consistently delivers quality. There's a famous adage saying, do what you say and say what you do. That is the principle that the ISO 9001 series follows, and it pretty much reflects what the philosophy of ISO 9001 series is. So essentially, whatever you are doing, as long as it complies to the requirements of the standards, please write it down and then do as you have written. Of course, now to verify whether you are doing it or not, there will be some audits, there will be some certification programs. So all that comes later. First is the QMS, Quality Management System. The ISO 9001 is the most recognized QMS standard. There are other standards as well, but it is the most recognized standard. And it was built on the bedrock of several other standards over the years since the Second World War in the 1940s in the previous century. So it was neither new nor unique, but it was an improvement on previous standards. However, it became hugely popular. Why? Because it focuses on customer satisfaction, continual improvement, preparing a structure, basically sharing how you can go about building quality in your organization. Of course, certification demonstrates that you are adhering to those principles and practices, and your commitment to quality is therefore proven. So that is QMS or ISO 9001. Next up is Six Sigma. Six Sigma has by far the most intense impact on the field of quality. In the last 25 years, or maybe a little bit more, since the mid 1990s, almost every quality professional became Six Sigma green belts, black belts, some became master black belts, and so on. Sigma, many people argue that it came on again on the bedrock of the previous work of Dr. J.M. Juran, who worked on the diagnostic and remedial journey concept. So his idea was that all problems can be solved if you first focus on diagnostics and then focus on remedy. Right. So, and of course, his famous Juran on quality improvement method was hugely popular before Six Sigma became popular. Six Sigma first became popular in Motorola, and then, of course, from there moved to other companies, including to a light signal. From a light signal, it came to General Electric or GE, where Jack Welch was so impressed with the method that he made it mandatory for his managers and senior managers learn more about Six Sigma, get certified, and then implement it in their organization. This gave a huge push to the program. If you look at the history of quality management, this was the singular moment. I think no other organization, maybe barring Toyota's adoption of Toyota production management, no other organization's adoption of a quality program revolutionized the industry in such a way. So, for that, we should give credit to Six Sigma, GE, and Jack Welch. What does the method statistically it aims to reduce defects to 3.4 or less per million opportunities. So let us say you have a form which has 10 fields, you have a million forms, so which means you have 10 million fields to fill. You can go wrong 10 million times. In that 10 million, if your error count is less than 34, then you are set to achieve Six Sigma statistically. Of course, it is not as simple as this. There is more. It follows the DMAIC process or define, measure, analyze, improve, and control method, which basically means that if you have a problem, first define it, then the parameters that are affect the problem, and then analyze the root causes, find the root cause, and improve. And not only improve, but control what you have. So that is DMAIC for you. It is highly data driven and focused on decision making. You would have also heard about the belt. So one of the popular belts is yellow belt, which basically is the lowest form, maybe 1 or 2 days of not very universally followed. The two belts that are universally accepted or followed are green belt and black belt. So green belt is usually a 4 or 5 day program where you understand the basics of quality and Six Sigma or can do simple projects. But as the projects get a little more complex, they require more statistical rigor, they require more change management practices, they require much more the basics of green belt. That is a black belt level. Usually 2 to 3 weeks, sometimes even longer programs done over a period of 3 to 4 months as well is what makes you a black belt. Six Sigma is used across industries. I have myself over the years as a black belt and then as a master black belt used it across multiple industries. So if you want to improve quality of the process, Six Sigma is a really good way to go about it. Next up is lean principles or lean thinking. Now, just as Six Sigma came from the world of Motorola, Light Signal, and then later on GE, lean thinking mostly came from Toyota. Toyota had its own Toyota production management system, which was then brought to the West by Womack and Jones, who wrote a book about lean thinking, and that became hugely popular. So, just as Six Sigma is about reducing defects, lean is about reducing waste in the process. Now, waste does not mean that everything that you are doing is waste, but in everything that we do as a process, there are certain elements of waste. You could be traveling too much to do a particular task, you could be overproducing, you could be over processing, there could be inventory, and so on. There are usually 7 types, and now sometimes 8 types of these waste. But the focus of lean thinking or principles is to try and reduce these wasteful steps so that we can get from input to output very, very quickly. This is a whole body of knowledge which has many tools, concepts, and principles, and so on. But the popular tools are more like 5S, Kaizen, just in time, and many other ones like even VA and NVA analysis. So value added versus non-value added. You make a list of all that you do and you see where you are adding value, where you are not adding value, and try and eliminate the non-value adding areas. Now, I am, of course, oversimplifying. If I had a full video on lean, I would probably go into more detail. But the purpose of this video is to give you an overview of all the frameworks. And as I said earlier, this reduces unnecessary steps and improves customer satisfaction and can be applied to both manufacturing and service industries equally well. Next up, all of this came together in a body of knowledge called total quality management. There is no certification as such, so this is not one body of knowledge. In the 80s and 90s, Armand Feigenbaum wrote a book about total quality control, which later got adopted as total quality management. And he, for the first time, started using this concept as a single concept, which was bringing all of the work of Deming, Juran, and Ishikawa, and many other people into one body of knowledge, which was TQM. But like I said, this depends on author to author. So one person's TQM could be different from another person's TQM, and which is totally fine because this is not an exact science. TQM is seen more as a culture framework rather than a tool. So it is more a mindset. It is about how you implement. But of course, depending on organization to organization, you can customize it a little bit. It certainly focuses on continuous improvement. That much I can. Other areas where TQM will focus are building strong quality culture, teamwork, employee involvement, and so on. Finally, PDCA, which is Plan, Do, Check, Act. So this is popularly called Deming cycle, but it is actually not the Deming cycle. It was first developed by Walter Schuhart as the PDSA cycle. Right? So Plan, Do, Study, Act. Meaning was more or less same, but at some point he thought maybe PDCA was a little better way of teaching it. The core concept being, in plan, you identify the problem and plan for an improvement. In do, you actually go ahead and do the improvement or do the activity. And then in check or in study, you study or check the difference between the plan and the action. And in act, which is the next and final stage, you standardize or you act on the difference. Right? So you plan the work, you do the work, you check the difference, the gap between plan and action, and then you act on the difference. It is very simple, but very, very powerful. You can adopt it anywhere. You don't need any statistics. You don't need any black belt. There is no software needed, nothing. You just adopt the philosophy of PDCA and you will find that your work can improve. Several years ago on a field trip, I took my team to Toyota, and there one of the questions at the end of the day was, how do you use Six Sigma in your operations? And the plant operations chief replied saying that we don't need to use it because we are looking for improvements on a daily basis. So there is no process that deteriorates to an extent that we have to then use Six Sigma to improve it. And all he was saying was PDCA, that we are looking for opportunities to implement PD on a daily, weekly basis. It's a very profound thought in quality management. But for this video, I will leave it at this stage. So this was week 2, frameworks and tools of quality management as part of World Quality Month celebrations. I hope you like this video. If you did like it, you can also check the previous video in this series and my other videos as well. My hope and prayer is that I was able to convey these concepts in a simple manner. For more detailed implementation, do refer other courses which are longer in duration and more in-depth treatment. But my purpose is to take quality to the masses, to remove the jargon, to simplify the difficult concepts for everybody. So with that, I will wish you a very happy World Quality Month and see you in the next video.